Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. In this video, I will show you a game between Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen. This is a game from the round 9 of the World Chess Championship 2021. Nepo had white pieces and he started with c4, the English opening, maybe e6, g3, d5, bishop to g2, black to move. I watched the game live. Carlsen played d4, and all the commentators were saying that this move looks risky, believe it or not. d4 is stockfish, first choice. The game continued. Knight to f3, knight to c6, castling, bishop to c5, d3, knight to f6, knight from b to d2, a5, knight to b3, attacking the bishop, and now not bishop to a7, bishop to e7, because the white bishop may come to g5. e3, very natural move. White wants to open up the game. d takes on e3, bishop takes on e3, knight to g4, attacking the bishop, bishop to c5, and the Carlsen castled kingside. d4, a4, bishop takes on e7, queen takes on e7, knight to c5, a3, b takes on a3, perhaps rook takes pawn on a3 was expected, rook to d8 was played, knight to b3, knight to f6, white to move, rook to e1 was played. Perhaps queen to e2 should have been considered, and then rook from f to d1. For example, if queen takes on a3, rook from f to d1. Back to our game. Rook to e1. Queen takes on a3. Queen to e2. There is a feeling that white rook belongs to d1. h6, providing some area for the king and controlling a g5 square. h4, bishop to d7, knight to e5, bishop to e8, queen to e3. What happens if knight takes on c6? Nothing special happens then. Then bishop takes on c6, bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, and it is about equal. Perhaps black is even slightly better. Back to our game. Queen to e3, queen to b4, rook from e to b1, knight takes on e5, d takes on e5, knight to g4, attacking the queen. Queen to e1, offering to trade queens, and the offer was accepted. Rook takes queen, black to move, h5, if something like rook to a7, defending the pawn, on b7 then f3, and the knight has nowhere to go. Back to our game. h5, so if f3 then knight to h6. Nepo played bishop takes on b7, attacking the rook. Rook to a4. White is a pawn up. But now in this position, Nepo played c5. f3 should have been considered. And after the knight goes to h6, bishop to e4. And white is even tiny bit better. Back to our game. Nepo played c5. And this is a blunder. Why? What's wrong with this move? What would you do in this position if you had black pieces? Carlsen played c6, trapping the bishop. f3, knight to h6, rook to e4, rook to a7, rook to b4, rook to b8, a4, rook takes bishop, rook to b6, rook takes rook, pawn takes rook, rook takes pawn, knight to c5, knight to f5, a5, the only hope, rook to b8, a6, knight takes on g3. Let's take it back. Instead of a6, how about king to f2? Then rook to b2 check, and after king to e1, knight to d4, threatening knight to c2, check, forking the king and the rook. After king to d1, knight takes on f3. After a6, check, king to c1, rook to d8, and after a7, rook to a8, just on time, and black wins in this variation too. Back to our game. a6, knight takes on g3, knight to a4, c5, a pawn sacrifice to activate the bishop, a7. This is a critical moment. What is the best square for the rook? There is only one good square for the rook, and that is on d8. Carlsen played rook to d8. If rook goes to a8, then knight to b6 is slightly unpleasant. Back to our game. So in this position we have rook to d8, knight takes on c5, rook to a8, and in this position Nepo resigned. For the entertainment purpose I will show you just one line. King to f2, knight to f5, knight to e4, on the way to d6, bishop to c6, knight to d6, knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, king to f8, rook to a6, attacking the bishop, bishop to d5, f4, king to e8, king to e3, king to d7, king to d4, bishop to b7, rook to a5, king takes pawn on d6. And I guess we can stop here. After this game, Nepo is 3 points behind. What do you think of this game? What do you think of the match? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.